this is Terry, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make my Waves of Winter scarf. The materials that you'll need is an 8mm crochet hook, also a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle with a large opening for the yarn, and I'll be using the Yarn Bee Breathe Deep Super Bulky weight yarn, and this is a number 6 super bulky weight yarn. Let's get started with this project. So one of the first things you need to know about this project is that it is created with a peephole chevron stitch, and that stitch is done in multiples of 10. Okay, so we're going to start by making a slip knot, and now I am going to crochet 200 single crochets. Just make sure that you do these in multiples of 10. If you lose count, I would suggest that you do a couple of extra stitches because you can always take them out here at the end. If you do less, then you're going to have an issue when you're coming back through and trying to crochet them because you can't add on any stitches. You'll have to frog your entire length. So to avoid that, if you get to the end and you're not sure that you have 200, I would crochet some extra. I'm going to do this chain off camera and I'll join you back when I'm done. To do these 200 chains, you're going to think, wow, this is really long. But remember, we are doing the peephole chevron, so that means that this is going to be a wave. So what happens is as you start to put in your double crochet stitches with the peepholes, your actual chain size is going to be shorter because of that wave that happens when you do this particular stitch. So don't be concerned that this chain is really long. So once you get to the end of your 200, remember we said we're doing a +3. So you're going to chain 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to work these stitches into the back humps of my chain. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because when I look at the edge of this chain, I want to see this nice flat side on my scarf. So I am going to be turning this chain over and working in these, if you can see them here closely, these back humps are what I'm going to be working in to. So once I do my 3, I've done my 3 chains. The first thing I'm going to do is yarn over, turn my chain over, and you'll see I have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to skip those 3 and I'm going to go into this 4th hump. So I'm going to go into the hump. I'm going to pull up a loop, yarn over 2 and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so these first 3 chains are not counted as part of the stitch. So here's your first double crochet. I'm going to yarn over, look for that next hump, go through it, pull up a loop, yarn through 2 and yarn through 2. All right, I'm going to yarn over, go to the next hump, go through the next hump, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 and pull through 2. And what I'm wanting here are 4 double crochet chains. So I'm going to go through that back hump again, pull up a loop, yarn through 2, yarn through 2. So you can see now I have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. Okay, so then at this point, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to skip 2 humps, 1, 2, and I'm going to go into this 3rd hump. And again, I'm doing a double crochet. So this is such a simple pattern for a beginner, and it makes such a lovely project. So you're going to yarn over, skip those 2 humps, go into that 3rd hump in the back, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over, look for that hump in the back, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to do 4 double crochets here, going through that back hump, 2. So now you can see I have 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now I need this little peephole to be created at the top here. So I am going to chain 2, 1, 2. I'm going to yarn over, and not going to skip any. I'm going to go directly into the next back hump, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, I'm going to go directly into the next back hump, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, and so let's do a few more. And then we'll take a look at it. And so this is exactly what you're looking for here. So you have your beginning 3 chains, and then you're going to do your 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. Then you're going to create that 2 chain space here at the bottom by skipping 2 humps and then double crocheting into the next back hump. And excuse me, you're going to keep going 4 more. Then you're going to chain 2, so you get this hump at the top. You get this little space at the top, and then go directly into the next back hump, and you're going to do 4 double crochets there. And as you can see, it starts to create this wave. And so again, as I said in the beginning, not to be worried about your chain, because as you create these humps, it's going to make the chain shrink somewhat as you go along. It's just that repetition all the way to the end. It's so simple, so easy, are coming along nicely. And I think one of the best things too about this peephole chevron is that you can look back, and at any time that you're crocheting along, you can look back and you can see where you're at in your project. You can see if you need to be making those the chain 2 at the top or the chain 2 at the bottom. So it's so simple to follow that it's hard to get off track. I would say maybe the hardest thing about this, if there was something hard, is this beginning part where you're working through that back loop. Now, as you can see, my chain is turned around here. So often what I will do as I'm going along is I will make sure and look to find this flat side and then turn it over to make sure I'm on the correct side as I'm going, because the chain will turn. Yarn does that as you start to go along. So I just every so often I will just quickly look and go, oh, this is the flat side. Let me turn it over and make sure I'm getting into those humps. Now we are at the end. I have done my 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, and we are going to put an additional double crochet in this last hump. So yarn over, go through that hump, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so in this last row of stitches, you're going to have 5 double crochets. Okay, so if you remember at the beginning, we had the chain 3 and we had the 4 double crochets, and so at the end you're going to have those 4 double crochets and then that final 5th double crochet, so that these two ends match up. So when you get to the end, you're going to chain 3, turn your work, and we are going to go under those 2 top loops. Okay, so you can see there's this hole right here. We're going to go yarn over, go through those 2 hoops. You can see them here, 1, 2, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we're going to do 3 more double crochets. Again, yarn over, go under that V, pull up a loop, yarn through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, go through those 2 hoops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, and we need 1 more. Okay, so we're going to yarn over, go through both of those loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And so now you see you have the same on the top that you have on the bottom. I'm going to skip 2, and you're going to double crochet into that next stitch. So you're going to pull through a loop, yarn through, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, go through that V, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And you'll notice when you do that, you skip those 2 chains, you get the same effect here that you've gotten here. Okay, so what you're going to do here now, you've done 2, you're going to yarn over, go through that 3rd stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you're coming to this hoop, and we want to create this same hoop up here on the top. So to get that to happen, you're going to do that 4th double crochet in the chain space. So you'll do 1 double crochet, then you're going to do the chain 2, then you'll do another double crochet in that chain space, 1 and 2, and then you're going to continue on doing 3 more double crochets in those stitches. So you're going to go into that top of that first double crochet on the bottom and do a double crochet. You're going to go into the top of the second double crochet and do a double crochet. You're going to go into the top of the 3rd double crochet and do a double crochet. Okay, so now you have 4 stitches again. So we're following that same pattern. I have enough of this yarn that I'm going to do 1 more row. So let's go ahead and go through the ending again. I've come to that space where I need that yarn on the bottom, that yarn space on the bottom. So I'm going to skip 2, come over to this one, this chain 2 post. I'm going to go into that top V, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and pull through 2 to get that double crochet. So now I'm coming in here and getting that 3rd, 1, 2, 3, that 3rd double crochet. And so I'll need 2 here, and you can do this one of 2 ways. You could go through the chain. You could go through the chain and put your 2 double crochets in here. I don't like to do that. I kind of feel like it stretches that out, and I don't think it's always such a great look. So what I like to do is put the double crochet in this chain space. And I don't think it's too far off from the rest of the project, because over here we're doing it in the chain spaces. So I feel like it's kind of following along the same lines here. So that's 1. So that gives us our 1, 2, 3, 4. And then remember, this is the end. So we're going to need 1 more to make sure we have that 5 on the end. So again, if you want to, you can go through that top 3rd chain stitch, but I don't prefer to do that. I like to do it this way. I just think it makes for a nicer overall look in the project. Okay, so now that I'm here at the end, I'm going to chain 3, 2, 3, turn the project, and I'm going to work my way back across. Then we're going to do a color change, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to work through this off camera, and I'll meet you back at the other end. I have come to the end, and I am going to be changing colors, switching out to white. The way that you do this is, because this is where we're going to make our color change, is you're going to yarn over, and you're going to go through that chain space, pull up a loop, then you're going to go through, pull through 2 loops, and where you have these last 2 loops left on the chain, you're going to drop the green and you're going to add in the white. Okay. And you're going to pull the white through. And after you pull it through, you make those 1, 2, 3 chains. And then you can just kind of snug this down, pull this down a little bit and snuggle it down a little bit. All right. You can take this. You're not going to be using this color anymore, so you can take it. I usually like to leave a decent sized tail on here, so later on I can go back and weave it through. You know, I try to keep in mind that a scarf is something you wear a lot, so I usually will leave a long tail so I have plenty of yarn to weave in at the end. Okay, so I've done my 3 chains, so you're going to turn your work. You're going to continue in the same fashion with your double crochets. It's going to go in this first space here. That's 1. Next one, 2. Next one, 3. Next one, 4. So you should have 4 double crochets and that chain. Okay. And then you're at that little juncture where you have to skip 2 and then do another double crochet in this space. And you're just going to continue on in the same pattern in this second color, if that's what you choose to do. Now you can continue on, if you choose to, in the same color. So if you've gone out and purchased the yarn and you want to continue, you only want to do it in one color because that's easier for you, then you can continue on in one color. I have decided to use my scrap yarn, so I'm going to be switching out colors as based on how much yarn I have available to do the rows. I will meet you back when we get ready to change colors again. So now this is where I'm going to show you to do the color change. So I'm going to start the double crochet, go under, pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2, and then I'm going to add in my blue. Pull it through these 2 loops. And then hold on to my blue yarn, and I'm going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now I have my color chain, and I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to start, sorry for that loud noise, I'm going to start another double crochet here. And remember, we are on the end or the beginning of this one, so it's going to be the chain 3, the double crochet, and then we'll need 3 more additional double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then right here was going to be that dip, so we're going to skip these 2 and we're going to go into this chain stitch and double crochet. We're going to go into the top of this double crochet, and we're going to double crochet. We're going to go into the next one and do another one, so that's 3, and then we're going to go into that loop section and do another double crochet, and then chain 2, and then start again those next 4 double crochets, and you're going to continue on in this color until you get to the end. Okay, so now that I've worked that color in, I'm going to go ahead and trim this white because I won't be using it again. All right, and then one thing I did want to show you that I tend to do when I get to these areas at the end here, I get concerned about these coming apart where I've joined the colors, and so often what I will do is I will go ahead and take these 2 colors and I will knot them together here. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I just do left over right and I pull it down, and then I do right over left. So I'm doing a square knot. I don't pull the first one really tight, but the second one I pull rather tight. Okay, so I don't pull the first one tight so that I don't distort my work here. But this makes sure that these color changes that I've made do not come unraveled. Okay, so you can see that I am getting close to the end here of my blue yarn, and I'm so glad that I weighed my yarn because this is about how much I have left. It's not much, but because I weighed it, I know that it is enough for me to have gotten these 2 rows out of this yarn. So I am going to finish up here with my double crochets. And I just love the way this is turning out. I mean, as I get farther along and I've added these colors in, one of the things that I enjoy when I look at it is that these raised in between little raised areas, as you're adding your rows, they just become more prominent and they're just so pretty. It's just textured and the colors are very modern, and I really like this a lot. So I'm getting to the end here. And of course, in the last chain 3 loop here, I'm going to do those 2 double crochets. But since I'm changing colors again, I'm going to start the double crochet. I'm going to go through 2 loops, and now I'm going to add in my dove gray, my dove color yarn. And I have enough on here to do 1 row. So this is going to be my last row. So at this point I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this will make my 8th row, which will make the scarf wide enough for my liking. Okay, so I am going to get the dove gray yarn, and I'm going to pull it through these last 2 loops here. And then I'm going to start my chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to cut off this blue. So remember I said I like to be a little bit generous here just in case, because I like to make sure that I get it all the way through. So I'm going to cut it here. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to start in with my double crochet here. 1, 2. Again, going into that stitch. Another double crochet, so that's 2 and 3. Oops. Sorry about that. That's 3. And that's 4. Going to skip over those 2 and go into this one, and that's going to create that little dip there that I so enjoy in this pattern. And chain 2 and 4 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to stop there for a moment. And now you're set to go. And so I will continue this pattern coming down the edge with this dove gray color. And when I get to the end, I'll show you how to fasten off, and we'll finish up this beautiful scarf. Okay, so I decided I had enough white left, so I did one in the gray, one in the green, one in the white, kind of following the same pattern. And that's the nice thing about a scarf is that you can do whatever you like. Um, they come in all kinds of sizes and patterns and lengths. So I added on this. I had some more. I had enough of this white left. As a matter of fact, I had just enough. You can see here, which is really, really cool. I'm so happy that I have started weighing my yarn before I actually begin crocheting across, because it has made a difference as to whether I'm spending time crocheting and ending up with not enough yarn to finish off. So you can see here I had just enough to finish off, and so I've done those last 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to chain 1, pull it through, and pull it tight. Okay, and so this is what I have. I absolutely love it. So the only thing I have left to do now is I need to weave in my ends. So what I'm going to do is I'll start over here and show you how I do that. So let me get my needle here. And just make sure that you have a needle that has a large eye. Let's go in just a little bit here. See if I can bring us in just a little bit closer. So you're going to want to make sure that you have this large eye in your tapestry needle because this is a bulky weight yarn. So let's just go ahead and slide that in here. All right, and then usually what I will try to do is I will try to go back in through the side first. And then I just kind of weave through the yarn here. I go in one direction. So you can go through in your one direction. Just be careful when you're pulling it through that you do not distort the finish of your work. So if you pull a little bit too tight on the yarn, you can always pull it back out like this. Make sure, you want to make sure that you do not distort this, okay? And then I'm going to go back in another direction. So usually what I like to do is go through my yarn and weave it down like so, and try to get back into where those chain loops are so I can go back in the other direction. Again, being careful that you do not distort. Don't distort. Don't pull too tight and distort it. And then I will continue to go through like so. And I have this little piece still left on here, so I probably will try to go back through it again. Just skip a yarn and then go back in the other direction. This way I know it's nice and snug and it isn't going to come out. And then you'll have this little piece left here. And I will just snip it off. Okay. All right, so that's what you'll need to do for each one of these tails. I am going to weave these in and I will meet you back when I'm done. Okay, so I'm going to go in here zoom out here. You can see now I've woven in all of my edges, and I have a nice crisp edge here. And at this point, I could be done with this and just wear it as is, or I could put some fringe on the end of it. I've decided to do the fringe, and the way that it worked out with my yarn was I had enough to do 4 8-inch pieces. So each of these, I just measured them out on my mat here. So I would measure it out to 8 inches because, again, I like that short fringe. I don't like it to be too long. And then I would just pick it up there and just approximately spin my yarn like this. See, that would be 3, that would be 4. And for this particular scarf, I wanted to 10 rows of the fringe because I have 10 rows on my scarf. I was able to get 2 gray, 1 blue, and 1 green. So I already have mine cut here. So you can measure yours out and you can cut them. The way that I like to do this is I will start off with the color that I want to be on the top of my loop. When I'm finished, I'll put on the bottom. So I have the blue on the bottom because I want it to be, when it's done, I want it to be on the top, and I'll put the green on the top. I'll put the 2 gray ones in the middle, and then I just kind of eyeball it and try to even them out as much as I can. They're not going to be perfect, but that's okay. And then I roll them over my finger, and I try to get them as close as I can to matching up with each other. Okay, if it's not perfect, it's okay. We're going to trim it at the end. So if there's any really long pieces, they'll get trimmed off at the end. So then I take my hook and I just go in that first stitch. So here's that first double crochet. I'm just going to go in between those two, and I'm going to pull this through with my hook. Now you'll see right now that the blue is on the bottom and the green is on the top. Now I know a lot of people would just wrap the hook around and pull it through. I don't like to do that because in this particular case, since I have different colors of yarn, if I did it that way, I could end up with the yarns on the top looking, all different. And I don't want it to be all different. I want it to be the same. I think it looks more finished if it's all the same. So I will put my finger, pull it far enough through that I can get both of my fingers in. I'll pull the tails through, and as I pull the tails through, I flip it. I flip this loop. So it was like this. I flipped it. And then I'll pull on my tails to get them nice and snug. Sometimes this corner one can be a little bit of a stinker. So I'll pull it to get it the way I like it. And since I've turned it over, you'll notice that the blue is on the top, the gray is in the middle, and the green is on the bottom. And that is what I'm going for in my particular thing. If you notice that the yarns don't seem like they're very tight, you can always go in and pull in individual yarns to try to get it to tighten up just a little bit. So I'm going to do that here. Sometimes the ones on the end here can tend to, because you're going over this little ridge, can tend to be a little bit of a hassle. But and like I said, I'm not worried that these are not all perfectly the same. They're close enough. I'm going to end up trimming this off at the end to make sure that it's fairly even. All right, so again, I want the blue to be on the top, so I'm going to put the blue on the bottom. I'm going to put the gray in the middle. I'm going to try to get them pretty even as I can. If some are longer, I'm not going to worry so much about it. Again, this project is supposed to be easy, fun, not overwhelming in any way, shape, or form. You're just supposed to enjoy it so that you can learn how to do something that's relaxing and that will be fun to wear. So again, I'm going to get my hook. I'm going to go through that. There's going to be, you're going to have a double crochet and you're going to have your chain there. There's a beautiful space right there. You just put it through, pull it through. Okay, when you pull it through, your blue is on the bottom. I usually pull it through enough so that I can get my 2 fingers in there. So I'm going to get my 2 fingers in there. I'm going to pull this, the tails through, the yarn tails, and then I'm going to turn it over so the blue is on the top and the green is on the bottom, and I'm going to pull. And that's pretty much it. You get this nice, beautiful, uniform, band with these. So I like the fringe this way. I think it looks really good. I just have one more piece of advice because I have made this mistake before. If you're doing fringe on both sides, you can see here, I finished this side already. I'll show you here. This is what it looks like. And you'll see like they're all the same. So just fixing that one up there. So you can see they're all the same. I haven't trimmed them yet. I'm going to do that. But these are all the same. So what I will usually do is before I start to do the second side, I will fold my scarf in half, meeting these 2 ends together like this. Okay? And then I will make sure to turn it over before I start to put the fringe on this end, so that I know that this is going to be on the same side that this is on over here. Okay? So that's another little good trick. So I am going to go off camera and finish my fringe on this side. Then we'll meet up and I'll show you how I trim it. Okay, so now that I have finished putting on my fringe, you can see it's not all perfectly even, and that's okay. What I like to do is you can get a big pair of shears or smaller scissors if you have them, but I like to use these because they're fairly sharp. And I will usually just kind of go along the edge here and cut off. Try to get it as close as possible to even. I don't worry about perfection on this because I don't know that anybody is really going to notice. Okay, so we're finished. Everything looks put together. I can't wait to put this on, and it's cold here where I am. It's like in the 30s. We've had several nights of freezing, so this is going to be a really nice addition to my wardrobe. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below. If you would like to see more of my creations, please subscribe. And if you hit the bell, that will give you an automatic notification whenever I upload a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon.